Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Dog Talk. This is episode 143.
I'm Cam and this is Julie.
This is the Torah portion for this week's discussion, I guess you would say. And if you want to listen to last year's, it's 97 A and B. And the year before that is 48 A and B.
Yes. Yes.
And
we do encourage that you go look at those, listen to them, because we're going to discuss some of it, but again, it's laid out the first year. The second year, we look more at the Nazarite vow, and today, we're going to look a little bit more at kind of how it all works together, and some more with the jealous, the adulterous woman. Well, it's really the
jealous husband is really what it is.
So, let's start. Let's see. It begins in Numbers 4:21 and it goes to 7:89. The chapter 7 has a lot of repeating. I'd like to start there real quick with the significance of that. You know, each day they were asked to bring an offering, each tribe of their own. So it made it very significant for each day. Each tribe had its own day. Each tribe had its own gifts. While we may be like, well, why don't you just say and everyone else brought the same thing, you know? But the Lord makes sure that we know which day, who brought what. And again, everything is listed, showing that all these tribes are important. You know, it would be easy to, especially in our day and age, not understanding how the tribes work. It would be easy to say, oh, well, the priests were so much better than everybody else. Or they were, God loved them because, look, he made them their own, his own inheritance. And the rest of us just fend for ourselves. I guess he gave us a little land. I mean, it could be that wham.
Right.
But the truth is, again, it's that whole body idea has to work together. So the Lord makes sure that, now this is the inauguration, so let's go back to Exodus 40. This is where this is happening, is in Exodus 40. We've got everything set up, and now everyone's wanting to draw near.
Right.
And so we're going to do it through the leaders of each tribe. But the tribe itself is, as a collection, or as a collective, collected all the items that need to be brought by their leaders. So while it may seem very monotonous, there is a reason that the Lord goes through this verse by verse, description by description, because no one, even the 12th tribe, when they bring it, is not to be less than, because it's like, nothing new. No. Again, they're just as important, and what they bring is not seen as, it's just, I already have 11 of those. That's not how the Lord looks at it. Each time he's like, thank you. So we have to remember that also, So when we don't think we have anything to bring to the Lord, because, look, there's this great minister there, there's this great singer there, look at that person, they're in ministry helping the poor. What am I? Remember,
we all have our positions, we all have our responsibilities.
Right.
To much is given, much is expected.
Right.
And we function as a body. But when I see it as they all bring the same thing, blah, 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 but I look at it like you have with your kids. Okay. So let's just say I have 3 kids, right? And
That's true.
Say
she does have
I
3
really
kids.
do have 3 kids. So let's say me and my 3 kids. So I want each of them to feel special with me one day. So I do something with them each day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's about that person getting their special day.
Right, focusing on them alone.
Right. Yeah. So each day is kind of like they're getting their special day.
Right.
And it may look like everyone else's, but that's okay. It's supposed to. They're getting their special time.
Right. And they look forward to it. Same thing with these tribes. They're looking forward to their day to be able to draw near. But then we see this thing with the woman. And I realize it really is the same. I mean, in chapter 6, we have where when a man or woman wants to draw as close to God as possible, becoming almost like the high priest, with becoming so close to the Lord, being able to put himself in the position to draw so near, that this whole thing is showing us how to draw near. And when we get to the woman, as I was reading that in the bitter water, I had a V8 moment. Wait, this sounds familiar. I want to go to Exodus 15, the end of 15. Verses 25 and 26 says, Then he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. And when he threw it into the waters were made sweet. And he, the Lord, made a law and a right ruling for them. And there he, the Lord, tried them. Okay, so suddenly I'm like, oh, wait. Israel has come out of Egypt, right? But they have not gone to Sinai yet. So there hasn't been a ketubah. There hasn't been a wedding yet. They're just learning. But they have been
said yes.
killed. Yes, they've said yes. And in a way, having gone through the Red Sea, they have died and been resurrected. All right? So now they can marry because they've died. So they come back as if they did not have a previous husband.
Right.
So it makes Israel as if she were a virgin. All right? So he's showing this to them. Listen, here's this bitter water. I know you can't drink it, but the cross, right, the tree. But I'm going to put the cross in this, and it's going to make what should have been bitter sweet. Isn't that what happens with she drinks the cursed water, and it should be bitter if she sinned, but if not, it's sweet, it gives life. And then we see still in in 15, in 20, and then it says he tries her. He's trying them. Again, testing them. Is this going to work? Then in 26 it says, and he, the Lord, said, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, and shall listen to his commands, and shall guard all his laws, I shall bring on you none of the diseases I brought on Egypt, for I am the Lord who heals you. And I just thought, oh my gosh, because they died, come back to life per se, now they're ready to marry.
Yeah.
And he's setting up this precedence of, look, here's this bitter water. If you drink it, it will kill you. I'm going to add my cross, my son, the tree of life.
Right.
And now you're going to drink it and it's going to be sweet and you're going to have life. Isn't that kind of what we have in 5? If she's kept his ways, then there is no problem with drinking that water.
Right.
But if she hasn't, it's bitter. It's going to be a curse. It's going to kill her. And it said that it also will kill the lover in who she was involved with. I mean, he'll just drop dead also, which is kind of interesting because there's a spiritual bond.
Right.
So Julie has her kind of had some about the woman and the jealous husband. So I think I'm going to turn over to her and let her do her thing.
All right. So what I saw really came out of listening to someone's teaching. You know how that goes. You listen, and they say something, and you're like, what? Oh, it goes with this. Okay. So I see this as a reminder more of the flood.
Okay.
So let's see. So that would be in 5.
Okay.
All right.
Numbers 5.
That's correct. So starting in 15, it says, then the man shall bring his wife to the priest, and he shall bring the offering for her, 1/10 of an ephah of barley of flour. He's not to pour the oil and the frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy. So this is a grain offering of jealousy. So the husband is jealous, right? So back in Genesis 6, you see the Lord jealous for his creation, jealous for mankind. He created them, and now they've just gone astray, so he's jealous, right?
I see where you're going.
All right, so it just runs all the way through here. So then, let's see, an offering for remembering, for bringing crookedness to remembrance. Okay, now we're going to see that offering again at the end of this whole ordeal with the woman.
Okay.
Then the priest takes the offering of remembrance. Now that would be after the flood when he remembered Noah.
Right.
All right, so you've got that remembrance. All right, so the priest shall take the set apart waters. I thought that was the set apart waters.
Yeah.
So we know from the flood that, okay, let's back all the way up. Day 2 of creation. He separated the water. Okay, let's back up even more. Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth became void and without form, and the Spirit of the Lord hovered over the waters. So we know that the earth was in this waters.
Right.
And on day 2, he separated those waters.
Right.
Now, if it became void and without form, then that would be the judgment waters. Those would be judgment waters that he separated. Now, in the flood, those same judgment waters is what he used to come down, right?
Right.
So
And to
this
come
says
up.
this is the cursed water. That's what it's called in the Hebrew. It's called the cursed water.
Right.
And so he takes this cursed water, and then he takes dirt, all right, and mixes it all together.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened in the flood.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so then she is forced to drink it. So think of that as all of his creation. So it's on a big scale now. Okay, so all of his creation has to drink it. Now, the only ones that survive are the ones who were in a wooden little ark, right? That the Lord actually provided the way for them to be there. Just like you were saying with the bitter waters, with the cross. Right, in both instances, you have the way that they were created. All right,
and both of the tree.
Let's see. All right, so you have, in this instance with the woman, if she's guilty, death. If she's not, life. All right? Same thing in Noah's time. If they were guilty, they died in the waters. If they were not, they had life. They were preserved with the life. All right. Now, for the ones who were righteous, all right, Noah and his offspring, what was it said? Now, be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
Same thing with the woman. After she goes through this, all right, now you've been found righteous. You're going to be fruitful and multiply.
And they like really multiplied. We're not talking like, oh, you get a baby. It's like they had the rest of mankind.
But I'm seeing that was the blessing of the not the curse, the blessing of,
it was the opposite.
Right, of the curse.
Like you said a few years ago, what side of the coin are you on?
Well,
same idea.
That's what I'm realizing with all of this. Oh, I did want to say one more thing. So it says in 23, and the priest shall write these curses in the book and shall wipe them off into the bitter waters. Well, in Genesis 6, it's the same Hebrew word where it says, I will wipe men off from the face of the earth. He didn't say I'll destroy them or I'm going to kill them or I'm going to get rid of them. It's the same exact Hebrew word, wipe off. And Rama Foreman's the one that said that, of course, and I'm like, oh, that is so cool because that's what they're doing. The Lord had his creation, his name on everything.
Right.
And by that flood, he wiped it all off, just like it's doing here. He's allowing his name to be written and then wiped off into the bitter waters. Then take that a step further in the end with Messiah. All right, so because this is a woman, I see it more on the spiritual side of things. So I see us going through this again. Now we know in Revelation that we've got bitter waters, we've got things happening to the waters, and so many people are dying. It's going to be the same type of event. It'll just happen in a different way.
Well, but you also have the harlot with the cup drinking it, and she dies. You also have that happening, and we talked about that a few years ago. That we also see in Revelation because she's going to drink the cup and it's going to kill her. Yeah, because she's adult. She is the adulterous woman.
Right.
So we have it that way, and like you're saying, and the rest of the world with the judgment part.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Like bookends.
Right. Yeah. Of course. So it's funny you were saying the name. I never really thought about that. Like his name is on the earth. Well, then that makes me go straight to the end of chapter 6 where we have the Aaronic blessing. And chapter 6:27 says, thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless them. So kind of going with what you said, his name is on his children, which immediately makes us more vulnerable to both blessing and curse. If we're not behaving properly, just like the first flood, he's going to have to wipe us out. I think sometimes we think, well, the Lord wouldn't do that to us. But remember, he destroyed his own house, the temple. He destroyed his own house so that he couldn't dwell right there because he was such a gentleman. He replied in response to how they wanted to walk. They wanted to walk casually, therefore he walked casually.
When sometimes we have to get rid of this in order to, I had a dream not too long ago. Okay, it was several years ago about
it feels like yesterday.
Giants getting on a stage and becoming real big. Some of them were falling down and were no more, and some of them were laying themselves down and they became small. And it made me realize that we have a choice. We can be destroyed, or we can lay our lives down to humble ourselves, and we're fine. Because those people got back up. The others were destroyed. And I see that, like you're saying, sometimes this has to be destroyed to bring forth the next life, because you're just never going to get it right in this one. But by the grace of God, you're covered, and you go into the next one. Now, what that looks like will be different, but it's if you would have laid it down. But anyway.
And kind of going with the rock idea. If you fall upon the rock, humble, versus the rock
falling on you. Right.
Kind of goes to that same thing. And in the end times, that's what we're going to have is that rock. Some are falling on the rock, and some of the rock is falling on.
Right. And it made me realize that we try to, when we try to write a curse, witches or whatever, when they try to write a curse, that's evil, all right? That's bad. But what I'm starting to come to understand, now, please don't shoot me for this and don't be like, oh, heresy, turn me off, turn it off. I'm realizing that the Torah is the curse. The Torah is the curse because it's only by Torah that you can be cursed. Right. So the Torah is the blessing. Right. And it's the curse. Absolutely. So if I try to produce something of my own and call it a curse, that's evil because I can't do that. I don't have the right to do that.
Add or take away.
That's right. I can't add or take away. We see this as kind of suspicious that they're, you're just writing, what is this, some kind of ancient curse you're writing?
Hocus pocus.
But really, what if they're just writing the story of the flood? And the reason I say that is because Rabbi Foreman said that he believes that every law was given because of a story that they already knew.
Got you. And that would be the waters. And that would be...
And once it was finished at the end before they went into the land, it was all written. Right. Everything was written that they needed to know to get through the rest of this thing we call life. Right?
So I do believe everything is in this first 5 books.
Absolutely. So what if the curse per se was just writing the story of the flood, or maybe I wouldn't say the bitter waters because that just happened. I would think something they knew before that. Right. Like writing the story of the flood and saying, okay, now on a smaller scale, let's see if you're going to be destroyed or.
Of course, the bitter waters. Everyone here knows that story. Everybody knows the story of the bitter waters. Yeah. With the cross. But you're right, that's not the curse part. That would be the good part. Well, this week's Torah portion, you might think it kind of starts boring and ends boring, but think of an Oreo. Man, that stuff in the middle is good. That's what you got for this week.
Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
With the peanut butter in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So dig in, take a bite out of it, and really, this portion will literally take you from the beginning to the end. There are so many great trails to go on. So we thank you for joining us as your springboard for this week's study.
And we hope you have a fantastic week. Shalom!